Jim, we're sitting here with JimSprankle. This guy is a Renaissance man, if you would. He's played Major League Baseball with both the Dodgers, the Brooklyn Dodgers, that is, and the Cincinnati Reds. Mm-hmm. He got to hang out with the likes of some major characters, one including Jackie Robinson. Do you have your World Series ring on?
I sure do.
You never take that off. I love it.
I do. I take it off.
Do you? Yeah. And then Jim, after you left baseball, he went into wood carving, and he's very well known for his books and for his carvings and for his level of conservation for all things fowl. That being said, no pun intended there, by the way.
You mean foul balls, foul birds.
Hey, I like that.
Foul mouths.
There you go.
No pun intended.
Well, as you said, it's all about birds and baseball. So that being said, Jim, why don't you give us a little bit of background and tell us who you are and what you do and all that kind of stuff.
All right. I grew up in Lafayette, Indiana, not too far from the campus at Purdue. And on my 18th birthday, I signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers. I was in every Major League Park but 3 between May 15th graduation in high school and my birthday, July 22nd. In those days, the scouts could not give you a bonus. If you were going to get a bonus of any size, you had to go into the main city. And I think I was in every one but 3. And on my birthday, July 22nd, I signed contract, $25,000, and told my dad, I'll never have to work again. And the look that he gave me, a little German about 4 foot tall, the look, he says, I'll bet you do. So he was right. So for 11 years, I lived a dream. And when growing up, my dream was, are you crazy? You're going to play baseball? So it was something, I guess you don't tell a German you can't do something, because being hard-headed, I'm going to prove to you I can do it. But, for 11 years, just living that dream and playing baseball and meeting some wonderful people over the years. And my first job out of baseball was working at a bank and doing public relations. And I'll never forget, they hired me in Binghamton, New York, and they had me up in the office to tell me, the benefits that I was going to have working at the bank. And one of them was an employee loan. And I looked at these 2 ladies, and they looked at each other and said, and they want to hire him? I didn't know what an employee loan was. I grew up, you didn't buy anything unless you had money to pay for it. But it was, it was a great experience working at a bank. It prepared me for the next step in my life, which was owning a commercial refrigeration business. And that came about because I was calling on these type of people, time plan financing, public relations, and met a guy that had 4 supermarkets, and we'd become very close friends. And he loaned me enough money to buy this refrigeration business, store fixtures. Man was close to 80. And I paid him back in, I don't know, a couple of years. And that was in 71, 72. And in 1975, I had a cancer operation, my stomach, 70% of it. And the doctor says, you may live a year and you may live out me. So in a year or so, I sold the business. I started with 3 employees and ended up with 21. Sold the business and started carving full time. And they say a lot, how in growing up or in life, one job prepares you for the next one. And in my case, that was so true. It didn't prepare me to carve birds, but it prepared me to reach these different goals. And y'all never forget, how that worked when I look back at my lifestyle. So then I started carving full time, and that was in the 70. Well, I started carving in 68, but full time in 76 or 77. And, I've been carving ever since. And I started teaching carving and painting classes. Oh, gosh, I don't know. It was probably very early in the 1980, maybe. Anyway, we had classes there. We lived at the time on Kent Island, Maryland, on the Chesapeake Bay. We had a school there, and we called it Green Wing University, Harvard of the South. And my wife would have 10 classes, 12 students in a class, and would have 10 classes. And there'd be years that Patty, my wife, would turn away maybe 90 to 100 students. And I was getting students from all over, Japan, Germany, England, different places. And I ended up teaching in those countries. And, it just was. And then after 30 years of teaching, which wasn't that much, I lose track of time. It didn't seem like it was that far back, but I did not want to stand in front of people and not be able to articulate. And I didn't want to make a fool of myself. So I started just no more carving classes, painting classes. And then a couple of years ago, at 88 now, I'd say maybe at 86, I decided, I don't want to put my name on a carving that I know is things might be not quite right. People that buy them wouldn't, but I would. So I started slowing down, and now that I'm at the point now where, maybe a little songbird or something, but, life has been so interesting for me, and it's just, I feel so lucky. And then to live on Sanibel, gee whiz, I would have never heard of Sanibel if it hadn't been for my wife, Patty.
And that was in the 90s when you came over and found it out?
Yeah, we got here in 1994.
Oh, you know what I forgot? You and I are supposed to have a drink. Could you grab one?
Oh.
Could you grab it?
Yeah.
I can't get. I'm all tangled up over here.
I can't. I can't.
No.
I don't think I should drink and talk. But,
No. We'll just go ahead and just relax and just chit chat.
Well, I'm relaxed. Can't you tell? Can't you tell?
So, when you were 18, you signed with the Dodgers when you were 18.
Mm-hmm.
But you were a Yankee fan, right?
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. I grew up I love the Yankees. So when I signed, and I did not like the Dodgers because the Dodgers and the Yankees were big, competitors. And when I signed, my dad said to me, which was so funny, he says, thank you. He says, that's what money will do for you. You hated the Dodgers. He never let me forget that. But then when I bought him a $5,000 house, he forgot all about that. He thought it was a great idea.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
Here, go ahead and crack that open, man.
Okay.
Jim, I didn't know you were a Yankees fan. I've talked a lot of trash about the Yankees.
Oh, I know, man. I love the Yankees.
That's why you move on,
Boy,
when you start talking about Aaron Judge and the Yankees and those boys in the pinstripes, Jim kind of moves on real quick and is like, well, do you know him?
I got a baseball next door signed by Aaron Judge.
Oh, yeah?
Joe Caddy, the guy that started Vinemark Bank, he gave it to me. He got it just recently.
Wow.
I was going to bring it in and give it to you, but you'd end up playing catch with it.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to get rid of that, man. That's something for the family to have.
But this hurricane, when it came through, we had close to a little over 300 baseballs, and 280 some were individually signed by members of the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Connie Mack, Lou Gehrig. I mean, we had prospective Hall of Famers, and of course we had Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Wayne Gretzky, LeBron James, and all kinds of other, athletes. And of course, now they floated around in the house during the hurricane, and I may have 20, 30 of them left.
Oh,
but and 9 presidents, single signature on baseballs.
So you were able to salvage, 20 to 30 of them.
Yeah,
How many
but-
do you think you had overall?
Well, probably 340,
Oh.
50.
I heard that you had the largest autograph or baseball collection in the world.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that I don't know, but good.
Okay. That's what somebody told me.
Yeah, some other people have told me. You probably have the largest.
Okay.
There's a guy down in, I wish I could think of his name, in Naples that has the largest collection of sports memorabilia I've ever. His whole big house, first level was nothing but Hall of Fame players and NFL football jerseys, all the winners, and whew, it was amazing. But he didn't have, that many baseballs. But
Oh, but to hear about those baseballs and some of them floating away in the golf, that's heartbreaking.
well, they didn't get in the golf. They never got out of the house.
They never got out of the house?
No, but
Did you save them? Were you able to grab them and save them? No, they're ruined?
No, our son and a couple of his friends came in a couple of days before we did, and just a couple of days after the flood. And they threw away a lot of stuff they probably shouldn't have.
Oh,
But the baseballs, once they get wet, and especially signatures that were quite old, some of them, the ink probably then wasn't as strong as maybe today. I don't. But the baseballs weren't worth keeping. But it just, I think, to be honest, 20 years ago, it would have broken my heart. Today, I can't take them north or south with me. So I don't feel like it's the end of the world. But
well, it's not. The important thing was that you got out and you didn't have to deal with that flooding.
yeah.
And that you and Patty are okay.
Yeah.
And, as bad as it may sound, you were able to salvage a lot of the stuff that you still have,
Yes.
even though you were flooded. So just thank God you're all right, and everything's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're sitting here in your house. I'd like to point out, we didn't mention earlier, but we came especially to you. And you still have the place, still have the house.
We're very, very lucky. You watch the news at night. There's people throughout the world don't have a place to sleep, eat. I mean, at least we're could have been a lot worse, and we're very fortunate to be where we are. And
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I'm glad that you say that because I think we usually give lip service to the poor, but that perspective that you have as far as, hey, you know what? 20 years ago, I would have been upset about those baseballs, but I'm not on the streets struggling to feed my kid, or something to that effect. So I appreciate your perspective. But let's talk a little bit more about baseball, and then I want to talk about the wood carving that your whole life, if I can. You started playing at 18. You signed the contract.
I started playing when I was in the third grade. Yeah. And my dad thought that's crazy. I'm going to pitch the Yankees. He'd look at me. No, you're going to go to college.
But the Dodgers got you first.
Yeah, I was everywhere working out Pittsburgh and
that's cool. What an experience, though. You traveled the country playing baseball.
I just hadn't been any farther than West Lafayette. Growing up.
Oh boy! And then one of the coolest things too is that not only being a part of the historical '55 World Series with the Brooklyn Dodgers, just the Brooklyn Dodgers in general, you also got to hang out with some of the most historical icons. Of the century of
baseball history,
life. Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about that and tell me as many stories about the Dodgers and Jackie Robinson and Weiss and all of them if you could.
Well, the Jackie Robinson stories would be hard for me to repeat because the N word was used a lot and different things, and I cannot put into words what he went through. I mean, I was not around him that much, so I can only imagine. But the short time that I would see him in spring training places, this man deserves all the credit for the way baseball is being played today. He set the stage, And I grew up in Lafayette, Indiana. We had 3 colored Black Americans in our class. I didn't know there was any difference. I mean, then I go to spring training at Vero Beach, and they couldn't eat with us in restaurants. They couldn't sleep with us, couldn't travel with us. In the minor leagues, on a bus on a road trip, they'd take the white players, hotel, motel. Then they'd go across town with the 1 or 2 Black athletes. They couldn't eat with us. Oh my gosh. I didn't grow up thinking like that.
What about the rest of the players? Did anybody say, well, what the hell's going on? Why can't they come and eat with it? Did anybody, or was it pretty much, we just kind of don't say anything?
A few did, but most of the players from the South, southern states, had been used to that. But you grow up north, it was, I think, a little different culture, because I just couldn't believe what I was going through.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, you were a Yankee after all, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing, his biggest supporter was Pee Wee Reese. And Pee Wee was from Louisville. And, you would think maybe it would have been someone from Wisconsin, Minnesota, or one of those places. But it was just interesting to me that Roy Campanella was just one of the nicest people you would ever want to meet. It never entered into race relationships or anything with him. He just was a wonderful, and he loved the young pitchers. He just had a heart spot for the young pitchers. Now, that's okay, Patty. That's okay. Well, I think he can put a lid on it.
Yeah, I can cut this out. That's okay.
I better have a sip of this.
Yeah, drink up while you can. Do you feel comfortable telling the story about showing up? I forget what stadium, what ball field you went to, and the janitor said something. Do you feel comfortable telling that story?
No, I don't think I should.
Okay, but
some people, yes, some people, no.
No, it's all right. We know that Jackie went through a lot. And,
did he ever?
Did you see that 42, that movie about him?
I think I did, but I can't remember.
Okay.
At 88, I have trouble remembering my middle name. And your name was Roy or Ray?
Yeah, it was something like that.
And this is my boy Joe, or it could be Jim someday.
He's your boy now.
If I call you Jim, don't be surprised.
I was just going to ask you if you could remember whether or not the movie was close in nature to what those ball players went through. But that's neither here nor there. So so you played for the Dodgers, and then when did you go over to the Reds?
Well, in the 11 years, probably 90% of my time was in AA and AAA. In those days, AAA and AA was very good baseball because they only had 16 major league teams. So you had, when I was at Nashville, which I love Nashville, but that's another story. But when I was there, 3 guys on our team of 18 or 19, 3 guys were the only 3 that had not played in the big leagues. So we basically would probably have had a big league team if we were playing today.
No, you're right. With all the teams out there,
it was.
Tell the Nashville story. Go ahead and if you love it.
Oh, Nashville! Don't get me started. I was there 2 years, and the first year in '57, I pitched 3 1-hitters, and I just felt so comfortable there. The people, we got to know Eddie Arnold, Johnny Cash, Ernest Hubb, and all those. If we were home on a Saturday night, they would start the game 5 o'clock, so people could go to the second show at the Ryman, Grand Ole Opry. So half of that front row was saved for the ball players' wives, relatives. So afterwards, Ernest Hubb's son Justin had a bar right behind Ryman in the alley there, and he would bring over beer only, and would have a beer with Johnny Cash, and it was just, so you got to know them. And they liked baseball like we loved their music. Ooh,
Oh, you're all right.
And it just was a love relationship. It just,
So you were a Yankee, but you enjoyed country?
oh, yeah. Well, I didn't even know what it was until I got there. And I went back my first winter as the season was over. I'm telling the kid I grew up with who ran a local radio station about country music. He said, what the hell is that? Hey, Dwayne, country music, dude. But I just, of course, today, that's the only thing I play up here.
Oh, is that right?
Eddie Arnold was the president of the baseball team. It was a community-owned team. The players are all, Cincinnati Red organization, from their organization. But he would come to spring training and this. And one year when Patty and I got married, maybe it was the first year, we were in Washington, D.C., and Eddie Arnold was playing there. And he saw me, and, I sat in the first or second row. So Patty didn't want to go meet him afterwards. Now she wishes she had.
But you got to Johnny Cash, man. That's good music right there. I don't care if you like country music or not. That's good music. And he always had a message.
Yeah.
I like
him. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so you were in Nashville. You played for the Reds. 11 years, baseball goes by. You find yourself out, and then you go into banking.
Banking.
Now, what is an employee loan? I can
The employee loan is when you want to buy a car, you go in, get the employee loan, and you make monthly payments.
So I see. So they were going to get they went to hire you, and then we're going to give you an
if I ever wanted, a public loan, or I'd get at probably a low rate. I don't remember, but
sure. Sure, and then you started your own business. Yeah. Well, do you want to? What happened to that business? Is it still part of your family, or did you sell it?
When I had to sell it because of cancer, and the doctor says you may live a year and you may outlive me. Sold the business and started carving full time. That was 76.
What type of cancer did you have?
Stomach cancer.
Oh, you did. They took it out?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If you have to have cancer, you're better off to have it today than yesterday, because they're always coming up with new methods and things.
Yeah,
Back
you're right.
In those days, I don't know. I was damn lucky. Darn lucky.
No, you can. Hey, you say whatever you want to say. You can say damn shit.
Can't say what I want to say.
Why?
I'd be in trouble.
Oh, no one's going to get you in trouble. If anybody's going to get in trouble,
my boy
it's
knows
this guy.
what I'm talking about.
Remember, foul birds, foul balls, and foul language. Everything goes.
I love that. I got to remember that line. I'll forget it by supper time. Foul balls, foul
birds.
Something, birds. Okay. And foul language. Whew.
All acceptable.
Yeah.
I might even.
Yeah, go ahead.
I could even say everything flies.
We're going with puns now. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I remember her.
In Nashville? No. You moved
go into Birmingham, Memphis, Chattanooga, Atlanta, Little Rock, or what's down close to Houston? I don't know, New Orleans. And we'd check into a hotel or something, and the guy say, Mr. Jones, Mr. Smith, we have a note here for you. It'd be a tomato.
Tomato?
Hot tomato. Girl.
Oh.
And Mr. Sprankle, Jim, I went to school with you, blah, blah, blah. Can we get together and have a drink? Yeah. I mean, it was just.
Wow. That doesn't sound too bad. Sounds like you were living like a rock star for a little bit.
You're vulnerable.
Sure.
Today, at my age.
You don't have anybody telling you got a tomato?
You never heard that, had you?
No, I never heard it either.
Tomato. Hot tomato.
Well, I mean, I know a hot tomato. I mean, I haven't heard that in a long time, though. but that would make sense. So what was your favorite place to be? Was it Nashville?
Nashville by far.
Really?
Just, about 3-4 years ago, they built a new baseball park. The park that they have is called Sulphur Dell. And you come in off the street level and you went down into this ballpark. Well, the right field was 247 feet, but it had a screen that went up maybe 50 feet. And there was a bank about like this where the right fielder stood about halfway up. It was a legend ballpark. I mean, anyway, they built a new park and they invited me to come up. This Patty went with, I don't know if James went or not. I think it was just Patty and I. We were invited up, and I was to throw out the first ball.
Strike?
Oh, it was before the game.
No,
you know
no,
how
yeah,
they
but did you throw a strike?
Of course, it was a strike.
Oh, yeah,
No.
but what am I thinking? Of course.
No,
No.
it wasn't.
It wasn't in the dirt
No,
or not on the fence.
but the scoreboard in right field, from center field all the way over to right field, was this huge guitar,
Oh, that's cool.
and that was the scoreboard,
That's
Nice.
cool.
and it said, "Welcome home, Jim Sprankle."
Oh, nice.
Holy shit! I was just, whew,
That's awesome.
That is, yeah.
that
But you
was
take
just-
Nashville over Sanibel?
No,
Yeah, it
Same
gets
category.
too cold there.
it'd be in the same.
I see.
category. People
Different.
here are so nice. I mean, they're so giving. You know, I was president 5 years of the friends group here. The only person to get along with. Our board thought that the staff, the Guardian staff government, that they work for us. No, it's the other way around. So 5 years, I was the only one to get along with them. But we raised the $5 million to build the education center, and it's just people knew when the key turned, the government was going to own it, but they gave the money to build that. That's the type of people that live here. They're so giving, and they're not walking around with diamonds in their lapels and like some places.
Now let's okay, so we're done with baseball. You did banking, you own a business, and now you went into artistry. You became an artist. But you were probably an artist your entire life. Why birds? Why did you start carving and getting into birds?
That's a good question. I guess I don't know anything about animals, squirrels or rabbits or whatever, pheasants. And waterfowl was something that was always something I found very interesting. And, I think playing 11 years of baseball, they do not teach you how to lose. And the first year that we went to Chincoteague duck hunting in January, we went out to Tangier Island in a boat rental to duck hunt. Well, Tangier and Crisfield is close to Salisbury, where they had the world's champion carving each year. And the people at Tangier say, "Oh, yeah," they were mumbling on about the world's championship in Salisbury. So on our way home, we stopped, and I found out. So I came down a couple months later to the world's championship, and I got hooked. I've never taught how to lose, and I just went wild. I think that was when I lost wife number 18.
She was a hot tomato?
Yeah.
No, okay,
Right.
so that's cool. Actually, did you you competed in these championships?
Oh, right away.
Really?
Right away.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you found the waterfowl to be the most interesting.
Well, that's what the waterfowl is, that you somewhat carve what people relate to, and people in Indiana, Maryland wouldn't relate to us. Roseate spoonbill, and down here, there's more spoonbill than ducks. So you sort of learn, especially if you're making a living, carve what people relate to.
Huh.
So,
Did you ever take up birding by any chance? Birding's big down here. Did you ever take that up?
well, I don't know to what degree. For 20-some years, I had an aviary with over 20 North American species of waterfowl. And when you see something every day, you know what they can do anatomically. And my guess is that helped when it came time to judge the federal duck stamp twice.
Yeah.
Because I knew what the hell I was looking at. And, they'd have people there, I shouldn't say, but they had people who didn't know a duck from a turkey, but they owned a business, sporting goods or something, and
Sure.
I would
giving the
call
government a lot of money.
I'd call 20 years with one's own aviary duckworthy or birding for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like it, whether you liked it or not. It's birding for, and down here, the birds, I mean, there's a reason why this is a hotbed for birding, for birders. So, what's your favorite waterfowl, or do you have one?
I have a bird that's on display up at Ding Darling permanent. There's 50 birds up there, one for each year, flat bottom, one for each year that I've been carving. And one of them went around the world in an art exhibit. I think it was, I don't know what museum. But anyway, the one that went around was a blue winged or cinnamon teal hen. And they're the hardest to paint hens. I mean, in competition, you might have 30, 40 shoveler drakes. You might have 2 or 3 hens. It's harder for people to paint a hen than it is because the feathers are brownish and they're soft and, just. But, you can cut this out,
Sure.
delete it.
Sure.
But someone the other day asked me, what's your favorite bird? I said, not this one. She got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with your carving. So, Jim, you not only carve the bird, you've done taxidermy with
Yep.
waterfowls.
Yep.
You've also you style the bird. You
Do what now?
style it. You paint the bird yourself, and then you photograph the bird as well.
Yep.
And then you've also published or had 3 books published.
Yeah, we had 3. They're here someplace. And we had one book about like this, and it was patterns. They were life-size patterns. So you needed a bigger book, of course.
What do you mean by patterns?
Well, it's the side view and a top view that you have to have for a piece of wood. So when you rough it out with a bandsaw, you cut, the top view and the side view. That's how you start.
Well, and that's the other piece that I missed there. So one of your books was about, education and how to carve, huh?
Right.
And then you taught carving for a while.
30 years.
You probably found great joy in that too.
I enjoyed teaching as much as I did the carving. And I think that the teaching came at the right time. We lived in Maryland. We built a house on Chesapeake Bay. And we built my studio. Well, about halfway through building the studio where I could carve, it was about 150 feet from the house that we're building. We were on 1,800 furnished foot of water. So I put the aviary right in my new building where I was going to carve. So about halfway through, I said, Patty, my wife and daughter are out on the beach, and I just had this brainstorm. I think I should build an addition to my work area and teach classes. So I did. And Patty just supported me. And then right in front of the class was this aviary. So at lunchtime, we'd furnish lunches. And at lunchtime, they could go out there and photograph and have their lunch and watch the ducks. And I think that might have been part of the reason people wanted to come, because they got a double dose. It's just,
Do you
I
feel like
love the teaching.
do you feel like that enhanced your artistic ability?
I don't think I'd hurt it.
Right.
I had it set up where I'd do a carving class, and there'd be a week in between so I could finish that carving. And then the painting class, everybody would have a molded bird exactly like the one that they carved a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. So I was double dipping.
Yeah. No, but that's still like, I know from my perspective when I'm teaching a part of the residency program, I find myself to be more creative afterwards,
Interesting.
or more inquisitive with the students. And it leads to, I would say, more revelations or a crisper understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. So I feel like education really, it's kind of selfish. I get more from teaching than I feel that my student does.
Mm.
And that may not be true because the student's starting from the ground, from the
Right.
bottom, right?
Right.
But I still feel like I get a lot, and that's why I love it so much. Do you have that similar perspective?
Yeah,
or?
I enjoyed the teaching, and I think one of the biggest reasons was that the first day or two in teaching, you have to encourage, not discourage. And it's so easy for me to put my arm around a guy and say, "Look, dude, look, you're that far away from greatness." It's just bullshit. And I just enjoyed it. And by the end of the week, I could see where they had improved so much. And I even had one situation that I saw, the parking lot, which was right between the house and the school. Here was these two old guys, retired. One was a lawyer and one, I think, was a dentist. We used to get a lot of dentists take classes because they were using those tools. And the one guy had tears in his eyes. He enjoyed it so much, and blah, blah.
Oh, that's special.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Oh my God. So the reward for me was seeing them struggle, and then at the end of the week, be so happy and leave. And
No, you're right, though.
yeah.
I find that to be true. And I'm going to go back to baseball in a second because, my kid plays ball and I help out. And these kids that they struggle, they don't know what a press step is. They don't understand why you get under the ball to catch it with two hands. They don't even understand to catch it with two hands. They don't understand.
Well, you don't see it in the big leagues anymore.
No.
I mean, if you did that when I was playing, you fucking hot dog.
Yeah. No, fucking hot dog. That's right. But
I mean,
they don't understand certain concepts. They don't understand the reason for a two-strike approach. They don't understand the reason to be aggressive at the bat and why coming down one strike is harmful, and then going 0-2 is even worse. You want to take the advantage from the pitcher. And if you're the pitcher, you want to have the advantage in throwing strikes.
Yeah.
But, like you said with that guy, you build them up.
Yep.
If you give them negative information, it just feeds the negative
it's just
outcome.
like your young son.
Yeah.
Positive
Gotta
encouragement. Not like my dad. Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, but that's on that field your desire to almost prove that you could do it.
A lot of hard-headed.
He's German.
That helped me.
No, did you find that to be true though when you were coming up? Because to be honest, Jim, you signed with the Dodgers when you were still a kid. You really were, and you did it yourself. You did it yourself before you had a chance to get pulled into college. Did you find that the coaching kind of mirrored exactly what you experienced when teaching?
Yeah, it had to have. At some level, some degree. And I think, managing, I've had opportunities to manage. Sparky Anderson wanted me to be an advanced scout, the major league team. And I think with the managers, the successful managers are people, men, in this case, that you got 18 or whatever the number is players, they're all different.
Right.
I mean, some of them you got to kiss their button, butter them up, and some you got to, hey, you're not doing this. You're not. You have to know how to handle each of those.
But you found that when you were coming up and you were receiving a little bit of that positive reinforcement.
Well, I played better.
Yeah.
When I was getting it.
So. Yeah. And what type of pitches did you throw? Oh, I need to say you're a right-handed pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of pitches did you? What was your?
My number one pitch.
Yeah.
The overhand curveball. Not here. And it was a pitch that I indicated that hitters after a while knew when I was going to throw it.
How'd you do that?
Well, because my wrist would be here.
Yeah.
Fastball would be out like this.
They're like, oh, shit.
Still by far my best pitch. And I learned that early in high school by a man named John Eberly. He was a coach, and he taught me more about pitching, and it just paid off. I mean, he's the one that taught me the overhand curveball.
Is that right?
I don't know if you can remember this, but probably not because you're not old enough. But years ago, the starting pitchers would warm up between the dugout and behind home plate.
Right.
Yeah. And it got to the point where, I mean, they could study.
Right.
Curveball, you come down this, and fastball, you do this. Yeah. I mean, you just go step. So
exactly. Now the bullpen's far away into the outfield, covered up a little bit. You can't see them.
With a camera.
Now, what else did you throw? You threw a fastball? 4 and 2 seam, probably.
In those days, I don't know to this day. I think it was average, maybe a little above average fastball speed.
Sure.
But I think, Johnny Pesky, who played for the Red Sox, was manager one year in one of the minor league teams. I think it was in the Texas League. And he says, you got to learn to throw a slider. Well, a slider you throw like a football, slice it. So, geez, all of a sudden I lost my curveball.
Oh,
because
I see.
My wrist, I just
very similar.
So you got to be very careful when you're.
Did you throw anything else? A cutter or a sinker or anything?
Well, no, overhand curveball, fastball, and a changeup. That was the three basic pitches.
What type of changeup did you throw?
Well, I don't. You hold it back in your hand.
And
you throw it just a normal, but to get the fastball fast, get it out at the end of your fingers. But you put a ball back in your hand.
Right.
That's what slows it down.
That's exactly right.
But you got to throw it the same motion.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear people coach it. For the most part, kids are still under the umbrella. Like they're not getting a lot of good quality coaching, and they get a lot of that negative reinforcement. And we tell them, "Hey, do this and do this," but they're not being coached to know how to do it. So you're expecting them to do something they don't know how to do.
Exactly.
Yep. And so a lot of kids don't understand. Hey, I need to hold that fastball on the tip of my fingers. If I go with my fingers like this versus like this, there's a change in speed there.
Yep.
There's a change in spin. Yep. So, and your favorite was overhead curve. Did you have different arm slots that you threw out of? It sounded like you kind of indicated that.
Well, rarely would I throw a 3/4 curveball. Usually.
You threw your fastball always overhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. That's pretty cool. And I'm glad that you said that you could kind of see the difference with teaching and learning baseball.
I was told, probably John Eberly, but then I kept hearing it all the time after I got into baseball in a professional way. Your arm is no stronger than your legs.
Yes.
And boy, there is a lot to that because.
Sure.
In the winter, I would go back to Lafayette. I don't know what they call them, things you put on your ankles, weight,
Hmm.
and strap them on your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go run, snow, whatever. I would go certain time, certain days every week.
You may have been
I was
ahead of the
just-
fitness curve there.
I was just wacky. But you know, I think too, what really helped me was growing up in Lafayette. The president of Purdue University was Frederick L. Hovde at the time. Well, his son was in our graduating class, named Lafayette Jeff. So we had access to a lot of things at Purdue, and they would allow me to come over to the field house, bring someone that could catch me, and I knew how to get in on Saturdays and Sundays when it was closed.
Oh, but neat. But oh
So-
wow, that's cool.
So I was able to work out and do things that, that's why in the scouting world of baseball, you live in the South as a high school kid, you're going to get 3-4 times more baseball games come spring and summer than a kid living in Indiana, where, Jesus, could be snowing first week or two of May.
But do
So
you
there's
think
a big difference.
do you think that also helps that player though, because he could save his arm for most of the year, whereas the Southern
sure.
players, yeah.
Living in the South, absolutely.
And I was watching a game last night, a college game, and they were talking about the dying breed of your baseball scout, because now it's all analytics.
Yeah.
They're
I
looking
don't know
on.
nothing about
Yeah,
how.
it's just changing, it's just morphing. Baseball is more exciting than ever now because they shorten up the time and they change the
Yeah.
rules. You can't sell enough tickets. It looks like the ratings.
Well,
are
or enough
spiking.
beer. If I
Yeah.
own a concession stand, Jesus, that's 2 innings, maybe, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a beer for most people. Another beer, maybe.
So yeah, so you taught a lot for your carving birds, and it sounds like you made quite a difference in most people's lives. I can tell you right
Carving.
now, you
I
are
still get letters from students, just calls. I got one from a guy in Canada a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's great. And you haven't taught in how long?
I haven't taught since, 2015 or 16.
Well, I tell
It's been
you,
5 or 6 years.
getting to know you, you are a memorable person and very personable.
Well,
I mean, I don't know this to be true, but it seems like it is the case. You seem to be very loving and very caring, and
I get a lot of hugs.
sure you do.
Jesus, last night we went to a thing of fish. Are you familiar with fish here in the island?
No, I haven't eaten over here in a long
Oh,
while.
my God. What they do on this island for people that don't have food or need hospital. So they had a fundraiser, and I don't know, there was 150 some people there,
Wow.
and just
What kind of fish did you have?
salmon. But it's
A local favorite.
yeah,
A local Northern Atlantic favorite.
yeah. There you go.
You didn't have any
With
duck?
ketchup and brown sugar.
Oh, wow. Now we're
That's for
talking.
tonight, because I didn't eat much of it because I wanted it tonight with sugar and brown sugar and
And ketchup?
Ketchup.
Oh, that's a different
Wow.
taste. Check that out.
Yeah, I used to teach in Anchorage once a year. I'd fly up, teach a week-long class, and they'd take me fishing the last day just for the halibut. Got it?
Yeah.
No pun intended. Just for the halibut. And I ate brown sugar, ketchup, salmon first time. Oh my God!
Is that a thing up there? Ketchup?
Yeah, I never
Really?
heard of it until I got up there.
I didn't hear about it
Yeah.
until today.
Oh well, there you go.
I know what I'm having for dinner
Tonight.
tonight.
That's what I'm having.
So
Yeah.
salmon with ketchup and brown sugar.
Mix the brown sugar and ketchup together like a sauce, and spread it on the salmon.
I may have to actually I may have to put a few lines out there in the harbor or in the pass till I get a salmon.
Do-
I don't
Yeah,
have
you
I
might
don't have
wait a
any at
while.
home. Yeah, it'll
Better
be a
go
while.
to Costco and get
so
it right away.
you eat it like that. You don't cook it like that, though. You're not
Well,
talking about
if
basting
I'm
it.
doing it on the grill, which I do a lot, I put it on, and then the last I put a little bit at the end. And then I always have enough mix that I can eat some of it when I love that ketchup.
I gotta ask you, do you eat any fowl? You don't have to. You don't have to say. But do you have any ducks or anything? Do you eat any of
No,
that?
I don't. I ate a lot of ducks, but I never was that crazy about them. I'll tell you what I did like was pheasants.
Pheasants? Yeah.
In Indiana, pheasants are, farm. Oh my God, everywhere.
That surprises me because it seems like a lot of people that I meet and I know from the Northeast, they like their shellfish and
Yeah,
they like their duck.
yeah.
You know, it's a very very popular meal.
I found out when I was playing the baseball that oysters are going up in Indiana. What the hell's oyster? What is that? Well, when I found out that charges up your battery. Raw oyster. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I started to like them.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We'd go to New Orleans, and there was this famous oyster place right close to the hotel.
New Orleans that's a fun town.
It was. That was a nice city.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been. No, I haven't been through Nashville. Have you gone through Memphis?
Mm.
You like Memphis too?
Had a guy that played on our team in Great Falls, Montana. I can't forget his name, but he was a pitcher and he got released. Went back to Memphis, and was a cop. Well, his day off, he was a Elvis Presley guard,
Huh.
So first time we went into Memphis, he came to the park just to see me and talk. Hey, how would you like to meet Elvis? Really? Elvis the pelvis? Is his brother Enos the penis there? Just having fun, man. So I don't know, it was the next time. We go in 3 times a year to each city games. So he took me out. It was on a Saturday afternoon. Elvis was there, and there were 2 or 3 hot tomatoes there.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
The real Elvis.
Yeah.
You got to hang out and meet Johnny Cash.
Oh, a lot of Ernest Hub.
Wow.
Hank Snow. All them folks.
That's cool.
I fell in love with that music.
Sure.
And there was an old lady. What's her name? Old enough to be my mother. Well, here's this kid, at 21 or whatever, still peeing green. And the older guys in the club just busted my balls. This Grand Ole Opry lady, she played. Yeah, very well known. I don't know who she was. But they tried to get me. She wanted a date, go out with me.
Oh.
What? She's old enough to be my grandma. No.
Did you go?
No, I never did. But I did do one mistake. There's a Maxwell House Hotel in downtown Nashville, very famous place. But they had a barbershop there. I'd never heard of a woman that cuts men's hair.
No.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of that either.
So, oh, Jimmy, you gotta go. No. And finally I did. I think it was the second year that I played in Nashville, 57 and 58. I went. Well, the older guys in the club knew. Yeah. So she is licking my ear. And
Was she a hot tomato?
yeah, wasn't bad.
And you passed?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Because I just go on crazy stories over the years.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Some of them I can't repeat.
No, I understand. Now you're this accomplished wood carver, artist, if you will, educator, and you said earlier that you're slowing down. I don't. Why? Why are you slowing down?
At 88, I think just like I'm tired of my boy Joe. I can't walk from here to that goddamn window. You think I've walked a mile?
Is that right? Well, I got to do something about that.
Well, I know.
Is it just you just get tired?
Yeah, my back.
Yep.
I can sit here for hours and have no back pain whatsoever. Right now, I don't even know I have a back problem.
Yeah,
Get up and walk the TV.
that's a comfortable couch for sure. But well,
Tell me about
it's
it.
a shame. So you slowed down on the carving because of it? Or
Well,
just,
I think that's had a lot to do with it.
is that right?
I don't want my name on a piece of crap.
Oh yeah.
And I know what I'm doing is right or wrong, or most people that would buy the carving would know. I know. And I don't want my name on something.
I see.
You know,
I can understand that. I mean,
I know.
you care about what you do. So what's the next chapter for you? What do you intend are you going to publish another book? Or are you going
No.
to what do you have any
We
plans?
did 5 videotapes back when we were doing books and tape, and we had our own paintbrushes made in Germany, you know, to my spec feathers and do different things.
Wow.
But I'm enjoying life to some extent. I'm very depressed most of the time, but
Why?
I think one of the big things is when you've been active your whole life
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you can't do squat, you know, and my wife, bless her heart, she is busting her butt doing things that I normally would do. And I feel like a jerk.
And is that because it's hard to
Because I can't do
because you can't move around or
No. I can't lift
says who?
anything heavy.
Why?
My back.
Yeah, but you got to condition it.
Let me tell you, I've had so many operations.
Yeah.
I've got a knot on my back. I don't know if I ever had you feel that knot. It must stick out that far in my back.
Just a knot of tissue?
I don't know what it is. No, it's too hard. It feels like a bone.
Is that right?
I don't know.
I
I
hate
had an
to-
operation about a year ago. Maybe 2 now. I lose track of time. In December. And it was supposed to be a repair job, blah, blah, blah. I forget what the doctor's name was here. And I walked in, you know, pain, but I couldn't walk after he had this operation. I had to have a cart. So then about a month and a half later, I had another surgeon do an operation, and it made it even worse.
Oh, jeez. No more surgeries, right?
No more.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And you hear, oh, I'm sorry.
Nah, you're fine.
I just hear so many older people in particular that have these operations. I've had 2 good friends here in the island, about my age, not quite as old, have operations and never came out.
I just hate the fact to hear that you have somebody that's who wants to be physically active, wants to move around and do more, feel that they can't because their back won't keep up with them.
Depressing.
Yeah, sure it is. That would be very depressing for myself.
Yeah.
You know.
I wake up at night, all this shit going on in my head about not much fun, but I enjoy this.
The shit going on in your head. What are you talking
And this
about?
is called blabbermouth soup at our house. Patty calls that blabbermouth soup.
Anytime, Jim. I'll sit down and hang out with you anytime.
You guys are the greatest.
You're pretty great yourself, man.
I mean it.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk forever.
What else you want to talk about?
Well, you asked the question.
Oh, I can't. What do you do? Do you do anything?
Joe, you got something on your mind. I can see smoke.
Yeah, he hasn't asked any questions, has he?
He can't get a word in, poor guy.
I may have asked a few. What are you thinking though? You were cooking something.
Well, I was going to ask if you have done any. Like, I know you're very receptive to children coming over to Ding Darling, learning about birds and fowls and education. Do you do anything else with the youth at all?
Youth? No, not
No.
now. This age. They have at Ding Darling. It's called WHOA, Wildlife on Wheels. It goes all over the state. The kids, and this bus is like a museum. There's all kinds of art in there, birds and species and identifications of all that. And that's the Ding Darling Wildlife Society sponsors that. And, I'm not anymore, but president 5 years and was very active. And I still enjoy going over. Not that I deal with the kids, but there's people coming in all the time. Where is Jim here? This past week on Tuesday, I had a couple come in from Wisconsin to meet me.
They give you a hug?
She did at the end.
Yeah. All right. You got any questions over there, big guy?
No, I'm not good at asking questions, especially when I'm asked if I have any questions. But,
yeah.
a
little harder.
I've just enjoyed hearing the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling us and having us over and talking with us and letting us record some of them. I know we've known you for quite a while and talked quite a few times.
But not like this.
Not like this, not quite. No, but that's why we wanted to do it, because we knew what gold it was, what gold you had to share.
We like to share with the world information on nutrition and health, physical health. And then we like to, on the side, we like to interview people that we find to be very interesting people that have a lot to offer to the world. And in doing so, we're hoping to build a following of listeners that are interested in our interviews that could potentially monetize the podcast. And our intention is to donate that money to Cystic Fibrosis, Muscular Dystrophy Association, and Spinal Muscular Atrophy to help further along the research and treatment and the provisions of children in need. So that was the whole purpose of this. You didn't know that, did you?
No.
And look what you're contributing now.
Bullshit.
No, you're a big part of what we're trying to accomplish, and I'm so grateful that to have you around and to be able to sit down and chat and shoot the shit with you a little bit.
For me, now that you brought that up, a couple of years ago, I got a letter from the lady who's sort of head of the society. And I had given $2,300,000 to Ding Darling and auction items and different things. And it makes me feel good that I was able to do that and help the kids that come in there or whatever they want to do with the money. I don't care. It's going to go to a worthy cause. And I know what you're saying. It just makes you feel good. I just love when these little kids come into Ding Darling with their parents and they see the bird collection in the cars. And the little kids come over all excited.
Yeah.
They want their picture taken with me. And it just makes you feel.
They have no idea. They have no idea who you are and what you've done in your life, but they know that you're dealing with birds, and they love the shit out of you, and they just want to hang out with you a little bit, listen to you, and learn about birds.
Yeah.
And that, think about that change you're making when that little kid, that's heartwarming.
I'll tell you, when he left, and the lady that volunteered. Are you gonna cry? No. He was so excited. But this lady, it's Tuesday this week, she just brought the worst out of me.
Is that right?
Oh, I was, jokingly.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Willie, and finally dawned on her who Willie was. And of course, the lady that volunteers with me, she had never heard that, of course. Oh, he's 88 years old,
You get a pass for that? You get a pass for being 88? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm 88 now. I'll be 89 in July.
No, I know. You saying that you get a pass for that?
No. At my age, you can say a lot that you may not be able to say at your age.
Is that right?
Yeah. Stupidity.
No. You're too humble. You're trying to play that off. I know you're smarter than that.
Yeah, barely. Barely.
Oh man, no. And
But-
by the way, this is the first time we've been out here since the hurricane.
Oh, is in Sanibel?
Yeah, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was this
Oh,
bad. I
you
mean,
go up West Gulf, you can't believe all those big hotels or motels or whatever the hell they were, apartments. You could look right through them. They're stripped on the inside. No doors, no windows, all blown out.
Yeah, we took a little drive down Periwinkle, looking for a shop to buy some beer, and I'm like, yeah, there was a store down this way, but not anymore.
There's a lot of them are for sale.
Yeah.
Restaurants in.
Yeah, we saw just so many buildings that were empty, gutted.
Yeah.
See, like you said, you see right through them. Ray says it's kind of dead out here. I'm like, well, yeah, everything's closed.
Yeah.
well, at the same time, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's quiet. It's quieter out here. But the water, I don't know what it is, but I feel like the water is beautiful right now.
Yeah.
The environment, I mean, terrible, terrible storm to have to like go through and just like survive, but it may have like helped restore some of the environment a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't know.
Do you think the water looks better? Does it look more clear than it was before the storm came?
I don't know about
Okay.
it. Looks pretty good now. I mean,
Looks good now, yeah.
Looks great. And we were talking about the grass flats and the water coming back, which, like we said, this is a huge area for birding. So, and it's not just birding, but you got a lot of fish and wildlife that come through here. And we were just wondering, is this storm, it slows the level of progression and development in this area down. Is that going to allow the environment to recover? And would the fish, the trout come back? Would the fish come back and the birds come back?
Today, recently, that the guides are doing very well. Fishing guides.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I bet they are.
Yeah, yesterday morning, when I was coming over to DT, went up over the causeway here, and there must have been 6, 7 boats, fishing boats, guides, right off to the right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is April. It's tarpon season.
Starts now.
Starting up, yeah. So they're probably under there trying to get some of the tarpon or.
But the water looks great. But the little side islands are devastated. You could see the devastation from the hurricane from that. At the same time, though, we intend to. I'm going to reach out to Captains of Clean Water and see if I can't get somebody on and talk about the water quality and the sugar companies, responsibility and the backflow of the Okeechobee into the Gulf, and thus the pollution and loss of the grasslands in the water that have decimated, the fish population. And if you think it's just the fish, it's beyond that. We've got mussels here. We've got we got birds that come here. We got quite a lot of exotic birds that come through here, which is why it's a birding destination. So I'd be interested to have somebody, and I'd like to find a whistleblower to come out and talk about that.
I was just wondering, someone at Dingarling might be of interest. Talk to.
You let me know.
Yeah, let me see who the biologist.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a great person to talk to, actually. That's a great idea. The other thing we want to do is bring on an archaeologist. That's right. Archaeologist to discuss the Calusa Indians and their civilization and also their departure, like kind of from what we know of, kind of, some of them were captured during the Spanish-American War and, taken to Cuba and the other Caribbean islands, and some of them migrated north. But other than that, we really don't understand what happened to them entirely.
You can use my name if you like. Eric Lindblad. Eric Lindblad was the head of SCCF for a long time. And he since retired a couple of years ago or decided, he would be the perfect guy to talk.
Is that right? About the Calusa Indians?
Well, that I'm not. I would.
I'll reach out to him. He might be. We'll talk to him about. I'll throw your name around.
Hey,
I'm going to throw your name around at some restaurants tonight when I go to get a steak. I'm going to see if that gives me a discount.
Well, you will up here.
Is that right?
In cellos or whatever.
Well, I want a steak tonight, but they'll probably bring me salmon with ketchup and brown sugar.
No.
Okay, I think that's it for today. I think we're pretty good.
Geez, don't leave. Yeah.
No, I don't. We don't have to leave. I'm just going to shut down. Got anything?
Well, just thank you everybody for listening. Remember that we do have links posted up for the Patreon donations, where we will be donating to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, as well as the Spinal Muscular Atrophy Foundation and Muscular Dystrophy. Also, just follow us, share with your friends, hit the like on YouTube, subscribe, 5-star rating, whatever platform you're on. Help us out by doing those things that help out these types of shows.
I'll be happy.
Jim, thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, let's go get some
when
meat
you
now.
talk those wooden birds, they've never talked.
That's right. It's
If
surprising.
I get a chance to talk.
We'll talk.
Coming into PT.
Yes.
Holy shit, I love it. I talk to people in the waiting room there.
I knew it. I knew it. You're a people person.
I
All
can't
right.
help it.
Well, thank you, everybody. Take it easy.